From the book Wired to Create, The Art of Attention. There are always flowers for those who want to see them. Henry Matisse. In a famous 2007 social experiment, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Gene Weingarten of the Washington Post offered a startling glimpse into just how much we miss in our daily lives. Here's what happened. An average-looking man in a baseball cap and white t-shirt sat up next to a trash can in Washington, D.C. subway station during the morning rush hour. He opened his filing case, took out the instrument and left his open case on the ground for passerby to drop in dollar bills. More than 1,000 people passed by, and he performed 6 classical pieces over the course of 43 minutes. The man wasn't just a street performer, he was the famous musician, former child prodigy Joshua Bell, and he was playing Bach's Kaufman, a piece that is generally regarded to be one of the most difficult for the violin on a 3.5 million Stradivari. A hidden camera recording revealed that over the course of that rush hour performance in the subway station, only 7 people stopped to watch his performance for at least a minute. However, the tape revealed that every time a child walked by, they tried to stop and watch, and each time the child was rushed along by their parents. Days before, however, concert-goers had paid up to $100 for a ticket to see Bell play the same instrument at a sold-out show in Boston. While this may be an extreme example, it goes to show how often we speed past the world around us, sometimes missing out on great beauty. It also begs an important question: how much of life will we experience if we are truly present to it? Pioneering Harvard psychologist Alan Langer describes mindfulness as an act of paying attention to the present moment. Langer, who is often referred to as the mother of mindfulness, conducted seminal research on meditation in the 1970s and was among the first to show that exercising mindful awareness could lead to measurable improvements in cognitive function. Mindfulness is the simple process of actively noticing new things. People always think they're aware, but they're not, she explains. In her book, Mindful Creativity, Langer suggests that doing creative work is itself a practice in mindfulness. In noticing new things about the topic you're considering to write, photograph, or paint about. You're being creative, she says. By noticing new things about a topic, you see novel things about it. You see that the thing you thought you knew is different. Everything looks different from different perspectives. Mindfulness requires a firm anchoring in the here and now, openness to novelty and surprise, and sensitivity to the environment. Mindlessness, on the other hand, can turn us into automatons, says Langer, rigid and habitual in our ways of thinking and fearful of uncertainty. This is not to say that a state of pure mindfulness is always good and a state of mindlessness is always bad. For instance, deliberate mindfulness can interfere with the flow state of consciousness, in which we are completely absorbed in an activity and lose track of time. Also, a lot of what may appear mindless may nevertheless still be incredibly conducive to creativity. As we saw earlier, unconscious processing can facilitate insights and help us push through creative impasses. Nevertheless, you can imagine how mindfulness in this broad sense of being attentive and absorbent might also be beneficial for both creative inspiration and insightful problem solving. Think about the great fictional detective Sherlock Holmes, who would retreat into deep contemplation to solve difficult problems, putting together the pieces of a case to determine what really happened. Mastermind author Maria Kanikova calls Holmes a master of mindfulness. While that may not be the most obvious way to describe the detective, Konikova explains that Holmes has mastered the art of unitasking. When a case is first presented, he does nothing but sit in his leather chair, eyes closed, in total silence and utter concentration until he's achieved some insight on the situation. Had Holmes not been a keen observer of his environment, it would have been impossible for him to investigate complex problems in such depth and breadth. His approach to thought captures the very thing that cognitive psychologists mean when they say mindfulness, Konikova writes. This approach to creative problem solving is an increasingly uncommon one. After all, in our own creative lives, how often do we take time to sit back in the proverbial leather chair and simply mull over an idea or problem? We don't usually think of mindfulness, now a pop culture buzzword, applied to everything from parenting to work to eating to sex in terms of observation. Popular ideas of what it means to be mindful tend to leave out what Langer calls everyday mindfulness, the act of observing what's around us. But the capacity to deeply observe is not only a key attentional skill, it's also a distinct creative advantage. With a robust and rapidly growing body of research on the many benefits of mindfulness, being mindful has become recently in vogue. But mindfulness is nothing new. The root of the ancient mind-body practice can be traced back over 2,500 years to early Buddhist thought. It was during the 1970s when scientists like Langer began to put meditation under the microscope that mindfulness became popularized in a Western scientific and medical context. In 1979, John Kabat-Zinn, a trailblazing researcher in the field, founded his 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction program at the University of Massachusetts Medical Center. Now the program, which combines meditation, yoga, and body awareness, is the most studied form of mindfulness training. Kabat-Zinn's often cited definition of mindfulness is paying attention on purpose, in the present moment and non-judgmentally, to the unfolding of experience moment to moment. While meditation is the practice most commonly used to cultivate mindfulness, Kabat-Zinn stresses that no formal meditation practice is needed in order to be mindful. It is not really about sitting in the full lotus, Kabat-Zinn said in a talk at the University of California, Berkeley's great food science center. It's about living your life as if it's really mattered, from moment to moment to moment. While the capacity to observe the present moment without distraction or judgment is a vital skill for anyone who seeks joy and fulfillment in life, it's particularly important for the creative thinker to be able to bear witness to her inner and outer worlds, and meditation can be a helpful tool for cultivating this type of attention. Since Henry David Thoreau, who is often credited as being the first yogi in the West, artists, entrepreneurs, and thinkers have turned to mindfulness as a daily practice for psychological well-being and a source of creative inspiration. In that pursuit, a meditation practice has become an important part of their creative toolkit. The sleek Zen Buddhism-inspired design of the Beatles' White Album, Leonard Cohen's 2001 album The 10 New Songs, written at Mount Baldy Zen Center, And perhaps most famously, David Lynch, Mulholland Drive, are just a few innumerable creations that were dreamed up with the help of a meditation practice. Steve Jobs has even said that meditation, which he studied with Zen master Suzuki, author of Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, was the main source of his creativity. If you just sit and observe, you will see how restless your mind is, Jobs told biographer Walter Isaacson. If you try to calm it, it only makes things worse. But over time, it does calm. And when it does, there's room to hear more subtle things. That's when your intuition starts to blossom and you start to see things more clearly and be in the present more. Your mind just slows down. And you see a tremendous expanse in the moment. You see so much more than you could see before. Meditation, as Jobs suggests, can help us quiet racing thoughts and tap into the quiet wisdom of creative unconscious. Psychiatrist Norman Rosenthal's research on transcendental meditation, a popular technique that involved the silent repetition of a personal mantra for 20 minutes twice a day, found that many new meditators reported a flowering of creativity after beginning their practice, an ability to see things from novel angle, to pursue new directions effectively, to innovate or change, either the world of themselves in some meaningful way. After around 2 years of practicing meditation, Moby said that he had achieved a higher quality of life and enhanced creativity, mostly by quieting the negativity and noise in his mind. The DJ and recording artist told that Rosenthal that meditation helped him pass the place of fearing failure to one of more pure creativity. A good meditation, he said, helps you remove the fear, and you're left with the joy of creation. When I meditate, I find I do things for more honest and more enjoyable and healthier reasons. A large body of research since the 1970s has associated mindfulness as both a practice and a personality trait, with many cognitive and psychological benefits, many of which are either centrally or tangentially beneficial for creativity and insightful problem solving. These benefits include improved task concentration and sustained attention, empathy and compassion, introspection, self-regulation, enhanced memory and improved learning, and positive affect and emotional well-being, as well as relief from stress, anxiety, depression, and sleeping problems. And the list goes on. More recently, research has linked specific types of meditation directly with creative thinking.